it's let's just see how. I mean, I can't tell what it's like on the stream. I hear a garble, but I think they'll hear us fine. If not, we'll work it out next time. But now, what were you saying? We were talking about flat Earth. Right? I said, you're starting to bring it up on your page more often, and then you said something. Now,
right? How did you start flat Earth first, or the Book of Enoch first?
Well, I started following all these guys that were talking about. I started following Jaron Campanella, Rob Skiba, Mark Sargent, all these. I stumbled onto this. The clique of guys on YouTube that were telling, Eric Dubay, obviously I can't not give him credit. He started this resurgence, but then that, I kept hearing about the Book of Enoch, right? And then once I listened to the Book of Enoch, there is some mad wisdom in there, like science, like scientific. There's some stuff about the stars and the circuits they follow and the timings, and it's like when you're hearing this sounds like some modern day, like. You would have to be a scientist to debunk it. Like, well, wait a minute, this is mad knowledge. And once you heard the wisdom in the Book of Enoch, like we tend to discount. We think people thousands of years ago were less intelligent than us. But when you hear these books, you're like, man, this is like mad wisdom. You can just feel it, right? So that got me. First, I got hooked on the Book of Enoch. I audiobooked it. Up until now, 5 times I've audiobooked the book. It's like my favorite because it tells like a Star Wars story, right? It's like, it's cool, almost like sci-fi, but at the same time, every time I heard it, I knew, and then it just pulled me into religion. I knew there was truth in there. And then next thing you know, I'm reading the Bible, and then next thing you know, I'm getting reborn, right? I'm getting dunked at the church, and I'm full blown loving life, reborn.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And it was weird. It's weird reaching out to my friends, because I remember I reached out to you. We were talking, and I threw that ball in your court. And I know it took you. Was I the first one to throw it in your court? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah.
Was that like that?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. You're probably like, this guy's nuts. He's a fucking nut job. Sorry, I'm trying to stop. Every once in a while, I throw out some F-bombs. I'm trying to fix that.
You know what I think the timing was perfect is because that was just shortly after everyone got quarantined and shut down, and so obviously internet time went through the roof for everyone, because most of what I was looking at researching after you sent me, there's no possible way I could have spent time looking at that a few months prior. But when you're on the couch half the day, you're in your house, and I think everyone's access to be able to watch 2-3 hour videos, the timing was perfect. Because if not, I would have had to put it on the back burner, and then by that point I would have probably made excuses to not watch it.
Yeah, I was hardcore atheist. I was sure we was on a ball spinning through space, and I believed in I bought all the science. I understood the science. I was a Cosmo junkie, whatever you want to call it. But my mom was just addicted to computer, just learning, and one day she started telling me the earth was flat, and I was like, Mom, do not say this around my friends, please. They're going to think you're dumb. Then it's going to look bad on me. They're going to think I got the same genes or something, And she's like, well, then just send me photos of the real photos of the earth or something, because I said, Mom, there's photos of the earth. And that's where it all started. So I go out looking for a real photo of the earth from space. And I'm like, then it just went downhill from there. And the reason, the reason I'm so vocal about flat earth, and I see you're starting to get vocal. I see it on your Facebook page, is because some people don't want to hear about, most people, if they're not religious, they don't want to hear about your religion. They've already written that.
Right.
But at least flat earth is kind of a new angle. And I know I've been responsible for several people come into religion through flat earth. So that's why I'm like, and I have more knowledge about that. Like I'm not nearly as knowledgeable as you, as the Bible, everyone, there's so many levels to that game, right? It's like Jiu-Jitsu as far as knowing the Bible, there's definitely levels of the game. I'm like 4-stripe white belt or something, 3-stripe white belt, but I love learning about it, man. It's awesome.
Well, crazy too, because even like scriptures that I've read 100 times now through, and you notice stuff about the angels and the watchers, and normally that's, you just kind of skim over that, and now when you go back, like, okay, we're in a galactic war. I see, that makes more sense. So yeah, some of
man.
those
And
yeah.
so when I started going flat Earth and Book of Enoch, all of a sudden the Bible started making sense. Like all the, it just put, for me, it put more pieces together. And, I got to tell you, like, we'll get into another conversation where I've started testing other theologies. I started going out there studying Norse, you know, Norse theology and or mythologies, whatever you want to call them, and Sumerian mythology and all these other, Hinduism, right? And I see all the parallels. You'd be amazed how they all have the same stories in them, all of them. It's crazy. So while we're waiting for Renard to join, I started going down. Have you looked much into Sumerian theology at all? No. So the
I haven't.
the first civilization, supposedly, if you believe science, is the Sumerians, and that's the first written records of any race of people, and they're in the Fertile Crescent right there, where everything in the Bible went down. But they were supposedly, before Noah and before, who knows how far they go back. But they have a creation myth. They have this, it's called the Enuma Elish, and it's like their version of the Bible, which that Enuma Elish means when on high. That's like the first words of the story. And as you read this, I'm like, man, this is the Bible. So, I mean, it starts out, it has, they create man. Man is called, in their language, Adamu. Guess where they create him? In the Garden of Eden. That's where they created the first man, in the Garden of Eden. They have the Ark story, Noah's Ark, same dimensions. They two of every kind of animal on it. They land on a mountain called Mount Ararat. They've got there are so many parallels, and I'm just scratching the surface right now, but I don't want to kind of misquote any. But it goes deep. And here's the thing: some people look at that, and because I've watched a lot of different takes on that. Some people look at that and go, "See, oh yeah, the Bible's the Bible's made up. It just stole stories from another theology." And I'm like, no, now you've got two different peoples telling the same story. That's what you have. Now you've got two witnesses, two entire, the names changed, but we know names change across languages, right? Jesus is Yeshua, is, we know names change with languages, right? So, Matthews, Mateus is whatever, it's, but,
Right.
yeah, so Noah was Ziasudra, right? In the Sumerian. So if you ever get a chance, read Enuma Elish. The part that is really amazing to me, that's just absolutely mind blowing, is if you have God and you have Satan, and guess what the creators of man's name is in the Enuma Elish? His name is Baal.
What?
His name is Baal. So that's who. So his father would be equivalent of God, and in the Enuma Elish, Baal created man. But Baal in Sumerian means commander. Lord, sorry, Lord. It means Lord.
Yeah.
So Baal is actually a title, Baal. And if you're into megalithic structures, I am, you'll come across something in Lebanon, Turkey called Baalbek. And Baalbek means Lord Commander. It was this old structure that's absolutely amazing. Here we go, Renard. He's in the car. Hey, Renard, what's going on, man?
Hey, it's working finally.
Yeah.
Up, Renard.
Well, hey, hi, Angelica.
Woo!
Woo! What's up, lady?
How do you all hear each other? Is there a gargle?
I can't hear you, Thompson.
Can you hear me?
I can hear her, but not you.
You're really quiet.
Who?
All right, hold on a second.
I am?
I'm quiet?
Yeah, I've got my phone all the way up.
How about this?
It's better.
Hold on a second. Let me see if there's volume. Thompson is super quiet. Audio input.
Really?
Default.
I'm super quiet because I see my
iPhone
volume like going through the roof. It's I don't know.
Yeah, that's better. You closer to the mic.
All right. All right. Hopefully people were getting all that other stuff earlier. So I'll hang on to the mic until I get all this worked out. Again, this is my first time with me using it. I've been helping my daughter on Restream and I'm learning from it. But we're live. We're actually live on a ton of medias. So yeah, we were talking about I was giving Angelica the Sumerian rundown. All right. Renard, we lost you. Okay. Well, he'll be back when we get him back. Oh no, you're there. Renard, I think you got a bad connection. Angelica and I are going to talk for a little bit.
We'll talk about Renard.
Yeah. So no, we can't hear you, man. We see you. We see you. We got to work out these. Hopefully everyone can hear us. But yeah, so yeah, he's typing. Hi, I can hear you. You know, let's go back and recap some of the stuff we went over last weekend since we didn't get to go live with that. And I thought that was great stories. So I'll start with how we all met, right? And I'll start with Angelica because that's I like sharing the story. So, and I knew who Angelica was because she was a fighter on a pretty prominent fight team here in Jacksonville, Florida, which is Smiley's Combat Athletics. And I knew who Angelica was, and I was fighting a guy. It was my first MMA fight. This guy's kind of like the Jacksonville champion. He's like definitely one of them, well known. It was my first fight, and I wasn't prepared for the fight. And I basically, long story short, third round, I get up too slow. The ref calls the fight. It was a good call. I probably would have died if I'd went further. My heart was pounding on my chest. I end up laying on a stretcher. They're giving me oxygen as if I couldn't be embarrassed enough because I just lost this fight in front of all my friends. And keep in mind, I'm totally atheist at the time. Angelica comes over and starts to pray over me. And when you're an atheist, when someone's approaching you to pray over you, the first thing is get the heck away from me, right? Like, it's like the person knocking on your door trying to, wants to tell you about their religion. Your first thought is just get away, because you don't want to be rude, right? I don't want to be rude and say, hey, go away from me. The thing of it is that as soon as you started praying for me, it felt like warm water being poured on me. Like I absolutely loved it and I didn't want it to stop. It was, it felt great. Like, I don't know if I was that close to death and like there was something spiritual going on, but I knew that day that I liked you. Like, and I was like, man, that was so good. And honestly, it took an edge away from my kind of like not liking spiritual people, or not spiritual, religious. I wasn't against spiritual people at the time, but I was against religious people. And then I was like, yeah. So at that point, I hadn't become, it was several years later before I had the experiences that brought me to flat earth and religion and how all that came together. But that is how I met you. And even though Renard is dipped again, I'm going to share how me and Renard met and hopefully we'll all do some talking because I feel like I'm doing all the talking. But so me and Renard were training in the Hoist Gracie Association at the Valente Brothers in Miami. This is like 2011. And first day we meet, we hit it off. There's like 200, 300 guys there. I don't know, but me and Renard just kind of clicked. So we start working together and we end up in front of the hotel, 2 a.m. on the beach, just training till all night, like 10 a.m. till like 2 a.m. or something. Knife to all the self-defense techniques. And the next day we're training together and we just continuously train together. And then we just become friends. And when he would visit Jacksonville, he'd stop at my house. And anytime I'd go up to North Carolina, I'd drop in on him. And we just became better and better friends. So he's still dropping in and out. He's on the way to his house. So hopefully
he doesn't want to get emotional is what it is.
I can't hear you, Renard. So I think you got a bad connection, but don't worry. I got you taken care of. So Angelica, Renard asked me a question today. I'll let you answer it, which is, how long have you been religious? When did you find religion? How long has it been part of your life?
So it more found me. I committed to the Bible around 13 or 14, but I had been down and out a whole bunch of times before then, and I knew something had saved me, something had protected me multiple times, and I just couldn't quite commit or articulate who or what that was. And being American, obviously we have Christianity available to us, but that I couldn't pinpoint that as the source of why I felt like I barely got out of so many situations by the skin of my teeth, like spiritual, physical, all that. But then it all made sense. I feel like God revealed me. It wasn't a big here I am, but I was able to eliminate everything else to know that he was the only answer left that made sense. And so that was around 13 or 14. And then once I was able to understand who and where and what he was in my life, then it made sense. It was almost like having a pen pal and you finally get to meet him, and then since then, it's a lot like training, where sometimes you'll have time on the mat and time off the mat, but your accumulated time together is what gives you that commitment. And so obviously the older I get, the less time that I'm willing to spend away from the one who saved me.
Yeah, I'm looking back, I'm embarrassed that I didn't see it sooner. I don't think without Flat Earth I ever would have found it. And that's embarrassing. Like I didn't have faith, I kind of feel lesser for that in a way, I asked for forgiveness for that, but luckily someone brought me, he put that in my path, that's kind of how I look at it. So like I was chosen, in some form. But looking back, there's so much that it's actually so easy to tell. Like once you see it, like that there's a God, it's so easy. I am completely amazed by the stars, the moon, just the fact that we have this celestial clock above us that just turns constantly and perfectly, right? And people don't understand how perfect that is. It is absolutely, 11,000. What is it? For the first time forever, I can't remember how many seconds there are in a day, but it's like 12,640, something like that. But it's perfect every day to the second, right? It never, to use the biblical terms, the stars never transgress their courses, right? They are perfect in their movements and their motions. So, just looking at that, you know that there's a God. That can't happen with a big bang explosion. But yeah. So going back, I wish Renard, can you hear us? Can we hear you yet? Can you hear him? I can't hear him.
I can't hear him.
No, we've got you. I've got you enabled, man. I've got you I can disable you and like re-enable you. Let me see. We don't hear you. I don't have you muted.
That's a lot of power to have.
Yeah. says you're on air. So, I don't hear you. If we just, reconnect, try that. I don't know once we hear you, we'll let you know. We'll add you to the conversation. Someone's online saying, look, we have someone, hold on one second, chat overlay. This is a cool feature. So, blood's thicker. I don't know who that is. Their conversation doesn't show up now. I had to have the overlay on earlier, but, they said, hey, how goes it, Robert? So they know me, but I don't know them by their, YouTube name. So, going back, so the conversation, on your Facebook, I saw you having the argument, not argument, discussion, whatever you want to call it. When it's me, it's always an argument. Yeah. The banter. Right. And, I usually find a way to insult people. It's not like, I don't do it intentionally. Like it's just something that the way I'm programmed and the way I talk to people, and I'm trying to fix it. Like I'm trying to keep it, fun, just a fun. It's John Jones from Facebook. Hey, John. Hey, what's going on, man? I didn't know your thing's blood sticker.
I think that's in our nature because we're coaches, and when you're coaches, you can't beat around the bush too much. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and theirs. You got to get somewhat to the point and not make it too harsh. So I think it's in our nature just to be direct, and oftentimes that comes across as insulting, but that's not our fault, is it?
I hope not. I hope they understand. But the thing of it is you're having these conversations with people. and they're like, we have video of, lunar lander landing on the moon, or what. You're like, I know all this. Everything you're going to tell me, I actually know. Like, you can explain stars to me, but you really think I didn't have the same courses you had in high school and or college, there's nothing that I don't. It's not that I'm ignorant of cosmology. It's actually the other way around. It's there is a shit ton. Sorry, again, cussing. There is a crap load of evidence that these people they haven't seen. They just don't know. Right. And it's amazing. What my favorite is, I call them NASA bloopers. My favorite's NASA bloopers. There are thousands and thousands, and I've got gigabytes of them, and they're going invisible. They're glitching out. They're turning green with the green screen behind them. Their wires are getting caught. They're flipping over. Their buddies pulling the wire. Their hairsprayed. It's like, obviously a show. Obviously, it's so obvious. And the fact that they can't, but if you're watching everything coming out by NASA, you won't catch that. You won't, because it's like 1 in 1,000. But when you see compilation after compilation, the people who've been looking diligently, then when you start watching, you're looking for details, and you start seeing all the little mistakes they make. So,
and what's nuts is all those mistakes pass through their litmus test, because they've got obviously now they're sharpening their green screening and photoshopping and everything, because every time that it comes across as we catch something, then they go back and make sure they don't do that again. So the fact that they're still making mistakes means they've made a lot prior to releasing that information.
Yeah, we see Renard, but we don't hear him. But we're just going to keep, when we hear you, Renard, we're going to let you know. We're not going to lie. Just let me know when you're there. Yeah, that's
Bernard doesn't want to say anything unless he has something good to say.
Yeah, he's holding back. That's one of the things, is that technology is going to get to a point where we can't differentiate between what's real and what's fake. Like right now, and we're on the edge of that right now. Like, it's getting so good. You watch a good sci-fi movie and you're like, how did they do that? They're like in space. They're not.
Right.
But, and that's where we're getting with NASA and SpaceX and all this stuff. So in a few more years, we won't be able to tell the difference. It's going to be perfect. So if you don't get on the train now, and luckily they've scrubbed some of this stuff. Like, what's interesting is they've went back and fixed a lot of the stuff from the lunar landings, from the moon landings to the lunar landings, same thing. They went back and took the pictures and fixed the pixelation. So that just confirms to the people who verified before, and now they're going back and fixing images. That's just double confirmation. Like we know, but the sad thing is, then those people who come later and look, they're like, no, I downloaded the picture. The picture, it doesn't have that pixelation in it that this guy, Rob Skiba, who's a freaking pastor, right? Like, he's making the stuff up, downloading it on his computer. They don't see it. So they are fixing stuff, there's still a lot of videos out there though, that's just crazy that they haven't taken down yet. It's so damning.
It's almost like, because obviously once you see it and you can't unsee it. And then when, like how you were saying, you try to explain to somebody and then they just regurgitate the information that we already had. And there seems to be a collective mass, almost codependency, narcissistic relationship going on with, we can see what's wrong, we can look at it, you can see it, but there are 1,000 excuses will be made on behalf of the person that's lying to you. And that lie obviously is a all-encompassing NASA, government, like whoever has their hand in that cookie jar. And then we as the codependent citizens of America and elsewhere are like, no, that can't be what's going on. I'm sure it's just a glitch or something, so we defend to the point where the blindness is just, it's a mental thing, because we wouldn't defend. Someone had told me the other day that if there was one let's say a sexual crime in a daycare, you wouldn't defend that daycare. You'd be like, that's it. That's enough for me. You're not going. But yet we defend these other lies to the point of our own sickness.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's pretty crazy when you see all this, when it all comes to light and you start seeing just how corrupt things are. And the fact that, you know, our government is pushing this, they're pushing this agenda with NASA. And then you start seeing how deep it goes. You can't trust anything like a vaccine or anything they tell you. Actually, you know, anything they're telling me, I'm going to believe it's the exact opposite, right? Like there's funny as I'm at work. I work in an organization, and you know, I'm in town doing work. We're in the city, and there's like 30 directors down to engineers, everywhere in between. And they're all talking about the vaccines they took. All of them. Yeah, I just took the Moderna. I just took the Pfizer. I just took how was yours? You know, I mean, they were all excited about it. Like they were, you know, cheering each other on. And I just sat there quietly the whole time. And they knew, they could tell just by like the, you know, I'm like, yeah,
your lack of participation.
I didn't want to say anything. I'm actually afraid I can get fired for this. Right. Like, and I like my job. I work from home. It's not a real taxing job. I'd rather keep it, you know? But they all drank the Kool-Aid, you know? And I'm like, I'm hoping they don't ask me, you know, cause I'm not going to lie. Obviously that goes against, you know, who I'm trying to be. So, but luckily no one said anything, but it was very obvious I hadn't had it. And, you couldn't give me, I was at dinner with family and friends last night. There was probably 12 of us, 14 of us. And it came up, and I think 3 of us there hadn't had it, and everyone else had. And I'm like, for $1 million, I wouldn't take that shot. Like you couldn't give me like, that's real talk right there. You could test that. If, you know, you could offer me $1 million. I'm not taking that shot. It's the mark of the, you know, it may or may not, but there's enough chance for me that it could be the mark of the beast. And if it's not, it's something just as nefarious, just as sinister. And I don't want it in my body. You know, it says in the Bible to trust God above man.
But it's set up. Can't discern when the 2.0 comes upon. So if we're having a hard time saying now, and our biggest consequence is the loss of creature comfort, what in the world are we going to do with they start kids? You know, if we can't say no now, we're not going to be able to say no for 2 months when the real deal comes along.
Yeah, you're coming in garbly. I can't hear. I'm not sure if it's just me hearing you or if everyone else, but I caught a lot of that, but not all of it. Renard, every time you pop back on, just say something. And when we finally hear you, I mean, you're completely enabled. So I don't know why I don't know why we don't hear you.
Am I sounding the same now?
No, now you're coming across better. So your signal's a little bit better right there. Yeah, that's good. You're clear. Renard, you're looking good, but we can't hear you. Yeah. Man, I'm impressed John's hung out this long. John, have you ever gone down Flat Earth Road? I'm just curious. Let me know if you have, or if you have questions about it. You know, we're talking about religion, Flat Earth. Flat Earth brought me to religion. Yeah.
So on the subject of Flat Earth and religion conjoining together, have you done much research on Project Bluebeam?
Much research on what? You cut out right at the end.
Yeah, Project Bluebeam.
That's hold on one second. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm a flat earth. We're all flat earthers on here. Not sure if you knew that, John, but yeah, absolutely, Earth's flat, man. Are you? Welcome, so you're John. Talking about the fake alien invasion?
Yeah.
Yeah. That came about. I don't know. So as I heard it, it was Werner von Braun, who's kind of given credit for this. He's he was one of the founders of NASA, and he was heavily involved in the lead engineer of the Apollo rockets. He was an engineer that NASA, or that the U.S. brought over from Operation Paperclip, where we hired these Nazi engineers and brought them over and said, "Hey, work for us, and we'll scrub your record." And on his deathbed, he shared with his CNA a lot of things, and one of those things was that one of the end game things to happen is a fake alien invasion, right? This is per Werner von Braun, his CNA, the lady that was taking care of him while he was on his deathbed, shared this, and she's given several interviews. It's all over the internet. I don't know why she would lie. Maybe she could be lying, but it sounds, it matches a lot of, it's come from other angles as well. But yeah, that'll be, and I believe that'll be the, whether they're CGI aliens or they're demons, whatever, when you're as far along as I am at this point, wouldn't surprise me.
It's one in this. And the crazy thing is that whole laser light show that's going to be above, where everyone can see, that can only happen on a flat earth. If it's a globe, it just doesn't make sense. But yeah. For that to happen, it absolutely is feasible. We see that now in a consumer, like at Disney, or you go to a planetarium. And so if it's that available for a $10 admission tickets, then surely if we got billions and billions of dollars going into a project like that, hopefully we're not around to see that, because I think it would be quite terrifying to see those images projected above your head and have it with audio and everything else. But I think definitely the flat earth and being under the firmament, having it just be at a giant projector screen is definitely something that would make many tremble. As it says in Revelation, signs and wonders, and they'll wish death upon themselves. So I think all that's going to be holding hands pretty soon.
Yeah, I think we're in the end of times. Like that's where I am in my journey right now. It's like I kind of feel like I'm kind of hoping my daughter makes it to like even being a teenager. I'm like I don't know if I don't know if that's all religious people, or I don't know. I grew up with I was the only kid on my street that wasn't very religious. Actually, I wasn't religious. We went to a Lutheran Baptist church. It was the most laid back church. It was like, come in, slap, high five the pastor. He told some story. We all sat around. It was very, I guess he did a decent job. But Lutheran Baptist is just like the most relaxed of all religions. And I only went because my parents bribed me with Bob Evans afterwards. So if I went to church, we got Bob Evans. I love Bob Evans. That's the only reason I went. But the other kids on my street, they were all mad religious, right? We're not rotating on a 23.4 degree axis at 1,000, flying around the sun in ecliptic orbit. Getting near. Oh, it sounds like a flat earther. I'm John. Oh, you all aren't seeing this. Let me add the chat overlay here. I don't know if it'll pop over there or not. His new messages will. So it didn't import messages that overcame. Well, I don't know if you know this, John, but either you are a flat earther or you just coincidentally said that, but that axis that you're talking about, that 23.4 axis, subtract 23.4. 23.4 is from one axis, but from the other axis, it's 66.6, right? 666. And that 67,000 miles an hour you're talking about, it's actually 66,600. These are all made up numbers because we're not spinning and we're not on an axis. We're not tilted at all. But the devil always puts his stamp on things, right? So no, we're not rotating at 1,040 miles an hour, and we're not orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, and we're not at a tilt. But from 90, right? Yeah, thank you. So I think you've done some research on this. I think you're maybe you're messing with me, and you have done some research on it, but right. Where were we at? I can't maintain a train of thought.
And I think those numbers, obviously, like you said, they're made up, but it's like how the Joker leaves his calling card on everything. It's just a confirmation. This one's ours. This is ours. This is ours. This is ours. So I think everything with those numbers, I don't believe they contribute anything other than a signature.
Yeah, absolutely. He puts his signature on everything, just like you know, there's 8 inches per mile squared of curvature, but that's 8 inches is 0.666 feet, right? 8 out of 12 is 0.666. I don't know if you know, so there's
I'm
there's
sure it's
0.666.
coincidence.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's 0.666 feet per mile. Yeah, Renard said he's like almost home, so we'll link up with you when you get home. I don't know why you have no sound. That's weird. We can see you, but only flatties know their model. Yeah, we do. We definitely know the model. Or just like, you know, look at Saturn, right? Saturn has a hexagon on the top of it. Supposedly some big storm, right? That's you've seen. Have you ever seen that the top of Saturn,
Mm,
Angelica? I don't know if you ever.
yeah.
Let me see here. I'm gonna. You know, while we're talking, I'll just put on some. Let me put on. Well, we'll do that in a second. That's better. So, where were we? But yeah, he definitely does put his stamp on everything. So Angelica, what about now? What about Roger? Where's he at in his? Is he
He's
same
thinking
place as you?
nuts. No. And here's why is because so shortly after you gave me that information, obviously I watched, I read, I shook my head, I watched it again just to make sure I was hearing what I was hearing. And so I couldn't help but start sharing that right away, right? And so people from my church in the gym saw my Facebook post before Roger and I ever got to talk. So they got a hold of him first. And so now I got to undo their doings. So he tolerates my comments, but he just like, does
Yeah.
that face.
Well,
I think if can undo their comments, but I think it was probably the maybe an hour after I post my first, hey, check this out, guys. I had people from my church, or like, and I don't want to say like actor church, but people, you know, that I've known throughout the years, message me and text me. It's like, oh no, there's no way the Earth is memes and pictures and all this stuff. There's people that I haven't from in like the last several months, but obviously there was a conversation going on in one of the Wednesday night youth groups or something like that. So I had people texting and messaging me, like blowing up my phone, telling me that I majored in this in college and this is what I did my thesis on and blah blah blah, all this stuff. And so they had all gotten a hold of Roger before I was able to just give him some logical stuff. So I got to kind of backtrack a lot of that. And because what's crazy is that they're mostly like elders in the church or people that I look up to, that I would look to further my understanding. So now it's like having a young supervisor. You know, you're older, but you got this younger person telling you what to do. So now I feel like I got to kind of step over their head a little bit. You know, if someone's been in the faith strong for 30, 40 years, and then I'm like, well, actually, I think you're wrong, you know, or some sensitive way to say that. So yeah, no, Roger's not on at all, but he tolerates. I think he tolerates or ignores something in my comments, but I just haven't had the chance to teach him better yet.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not really important if he's saved, right? Like it really doesn't matter. Like flat Earth isn't. It isn't so important, but it kind of is. Like for me, one could make the argument that you're teaching false scripture if you're teaching the Earth is round, right? Like if you believe what I believe and what you believe, Bernard believes, and a whole bunch of my friends believe, is the Earth is flat, and if you're religious and you know, and you're teaching the Bible and you're saying, oh, we're spinning through Earth, you're telling them to believe the wrong person. You're telling them science is right. And we need to, they should have taken a stand, right? Hebrews, when they wrote the Bible, believed the earth was flat with a dome. This is like, I'll get in an argument with people that are, went to seminary. What's it called? It's a seminary school. I think.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. They went to seminary school and they're theologians, right? Or they're certified pastors. And they'll, oh no, the Bible teaches that the earth is spherical. And I'm like, well, that's really ironic because the people who wrote it believed, they even made drawings, right? Like we know for a fact that the Hebrews thought the earth was flat and it had a firmament over it. So how are you going to tell me the Bible teaches a spherical earth? It does not. And we just changed our interpretation of it to match mainstream science, which was wrong. Right. Because as people started believing mainstream science, the church was losing people to it, right? So they just let mainstream science win and built it into the religion. And they should have taken a stance and said it should have been, a scientific war, whatever you want to call that. It should have been, but yeah, it's funny because when I went to my church, I wanted to find a church to baptize me. I wanted to be baptized. I was baptized as a child, but they just did it. I wanted to willingly be baptized, and I couldn't find a flat earth church. So I just went to a church, and I don't know, there's still the Spirit of God when I go in there, but they wanted to make this video about how I found why I joined the church. And so I'm in there, I'm telling them, and I'm like, yeah, I came across, the flat earth, and I started investigating it. And they're looking at me like the guy making the video and the girl asking the questions is just looking at me like I'm nuts. I'm like, yeah, well, and, but hey, it brought me to Christ. It brought me to,
right.
It saved me. So laugh all you want.
The good thing, like you were saying, it's not a salvation issue. I mean, just like the rapture, for instance, if you believe in the rapture, it's not going to change your salvation, but it absolutely will change your earth.
You're totally cutting out right now.
You take the warnings. Because every time that Jesus speaks about, or Paul speaks about the end time, the tribulation, it always comes with a warning not to be deceived. And before you see some of this information, you just assume that the deception is going to come from straight from Satan trying to tempt you to do drugs or get drunk, some sort of very obvious carnal sin. But then the more you can read the scriptures and see all this in there, now you understand the depth of the deception. And so you're not going to not be saved if you don't understand a layer. Thank goodness, because I mean, if it depended on our understanding, we'd all be a mess. But as we do understand, it's our obligation, obviously, to continue writing the lies that have been said. So I think we definitely have to have grace on all that, but we have to be bold as well, because like you said, to know. If you don't know, it's one thing, but to know and to not fix it, that's a big deal, I think.
Yeah. So going back to Roger, that's interesting, that where this conversation started with, like my wife, she just didn't care. Like, I don't know why this went blurry, but she just didn't care about whether it was round, or she still doesn't. But like I asked her, I'm like, what do you believe today? And she's like, well, I believe it's flat, so I don't know at what point in time her mind changed, or she said she just never cared, like growing up. She's like, whatever, it just doesn't matter to me. But she was religious. She was Catholic and she always prayed, and didn't really matter. Not that important. If you're saved, really, that's all that matters. But I can see where it would strengthen your faith. I could, because when you have that revelation, you're just like, what, to believe you're spinning through space and it's infinite and it's just never ending. It really makes, it makes God smaller in a way. We know God's infinite. We know he's omnipotent, omniscient. He's all these things, but when you put him right above you, it's totally different. It's just like, wow,
completely.
This is his footstool. I don't know. They meant that in all seriousness. Then all of a sudden you feel super special. And, It changed my life, man. You know, my life was kind of boring for me, and now there's just not a boring minute. Like I'm never bored. It's become
It's
exciting.
urgent, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's not enough time. And, you know, I'm on a quest for knowledge too. Cause there's like so many things, like another thing about, you know, when you find God, when you're saved, is that you want to find out what's wrong and right with everything. Cause the compass I have been guided with before Christianity was a completely different compass. It was a compass of my peers, and it was the compass of the government. And then all of a sudden you're like, what all have I done wrong? How do I write it? And what's the right things to do from here on out? Cause I want to be part of his kingdom. Right. So,
Right.
I thought I was a good person. I really did. I really thought, and I don't think I was a terrible person. And you know, there's a lot worse, I'm sure. But, but once you find God, all of a sudden your moral compass is quite a bit different. Now, all of a sudden now I'm like, there are things, when I'm probably the worst thing I do now is still, or one of them is, you know, I cussed naturally and like a sailor for 40, you know, 48 years old. And it's seriously minimized. Like you may not see that, but oh my, I used to drop F bombs in every sentence. I was just like, it made me cool. You know, it's like defined who I was. I thought it was so cool. Like Eddie Murphy. It's like nothing's cool. If you took F bombs away from him, he'd be nobody. You know, his humor was gone. I don't know how to be funny anymore, but,
Yeah.
I don't really care. That's the one thing. There's certain things that you grew up a certain way and you're trying to reshape yourself. But,
Well, like how David said after he suffered the loss of his son in Psalms, is he said, "Search my heart, and if there be found any wicked way in me," and that's a vulnerability prayer that you can only pray, that you can only desire when you know that the person in charge of searching your soul has the best intention, because that's not a way that we would open ourselves up in any way. To search my heart and find if there be any wicked way in me, you know, that's a desperate, vulnerable prayer. And so that's not something that we can really do until we're saved, because why would you trust anyone to know you that well, that intimately?
yeah,
So yeah.
I think if you give, you know, if you give God permission, right? Cause that's the thing is you know, a lot of people are like, why does Satan, this is a cool thing. This is a cool thing I heard the other day. I was like, you know, you're like, why is Satan still alive? Why didn't God just smash him? Right? Why are we still alive? There's tons of us out here rebelling, right? Because we're his
Right.
children and he let us make up our own mind if we want to come to him or not. And our children rebel sometimes, right? And when you rebel, you don't squash them, you don't kill them, right? So Satan is one of his children too. Or, you know, he's someone he created. He's one of he begat, I would assume he begat Satan, you know, and Satan wanted to set his throne above his, and maybe the end, maybe he sees far beyond and he knows that Satan's going to come back or what, we don't know, you know, that's not for us. That's beyond our comprehension. But the point of it is that why are we still here? If religion is, and it's undoubtedly true to me, but I'll say that for those people who want to make the argument,
Right.
if religion is true, and he is our father, then a loving father will let you rebel, right? Otherwise we're just pets, right? So
Yeah.
we have the choice to rebel, and we have the choice. So I gave him permission. You know, I said, you know, change me as you want, you know, work through me, make me better, you know. So I believe that's something you have to give God permission to fix you, right?
And you have to be broken first for that to happen.
Yeah. Now,
Because if you can stand on your own 2 feet, you're sure not going to give anyone that permission. I don't think.
yeah.
So brokenness is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. I ask a lot. You know, it's very, I'll regularly ask God to fix me and work through me, right? And I'll say, I give you permission, right? Like I know he can do whatever he wants to, but I think that's something he wants from you, right? He wants you to say, like he's sitting there saying, I'll fix you, but you got to ask for it, right? Like otherwise you're just a puppet, right? Like I'll just,
Yeah.
you're not my son. So, but yeah, I've given myself many times over, and I'll continue to do it every day and ask to be healed, fixed, blessed, whatever. But life is definitely better. But yeah, so I'm thankful you came in my life, and obviously as a friend, but yeah, when I thought I wanted to do this, so we don't know where this is going to lead, but hopefully, I think it'd be cool if we could do this regularly. And but you were the first person that popped in my head. I was like, I definitely want Angelica because I like her aura, her vibe, and I liked you the moment I met you. So I thought that would be super cool. And we'll see if we got Renard. You there?
Renard.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you definitely.
Oh, wonderful. My goodness, man, that was painful.
Angelica, do you hear, is he garbled when he talks?
No.
Or is he sound okay, good. So
crystal clear.
all right, good. So there's something going on with my headset. Like you both sound a little garbled, but I can hear you just fine.
Hey,
You guys look really warm.
I look warm?
Warm.
Oh, worn.
Warm. Like
warm, like
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Must be the yellow background. You got the yellow background going on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I have the a nice shaded light. Oh yeah, it's in the background right there. Yeah. So how did the conversation go with the other guy who was he a flat earther?
Who, the guy on her Facebook page?
Yeah, was he on her Facebook page?
I think John or Jonathan you're talking to.
I don't know, the one that you were talking to, Bobby.
Oh
yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he was a flat earther. He said Earth's flat ? And then he said we're not rotating on a 23.4 axis at 1,038 miles an hour, flying around the sun on an ecliptic orbit at nearly 67,000 miles per hour, corkscrewing with the sun through space at half a million miles per hour. He knows his science. Obviously, this is the same exact thing. It sounds like he copied and pasted something I've said before, but yeah, he said only flatties know their model. So I don't know. Either he's just very up on religion, the science and cosmology, or he copy and pasted something I said earlier, or he's just mocking us. So I'm not sure. But he's a cool dude. So either way, he has my permission to mess with me. I don't mind being teased. I don't mind. I throw myself out there just like Angelica does. She throws herself out there on Facebook, and it's hard to do. You're exposing yourself because you know that you're going to get clowned, right? You know that.
Yeah, like 85% at least.
Yeah. I don't know what percentage. It'd be cooler to live in Brazil because that 11 million Brazilians believe the Earth is flat. That's a pretty big percentage. It's on the news. That's on. You can Google that. Like, I think as far as countries go, Brazil wins as far as for believing the Earth is flat. Like, I think they got like arguably the highest percentage.
Oh, that's very cool, man.
But I throw it out there all the time. I give little seminars at my house. I have people. I said I've messaged you on Facebook. I don't have Facebook open right now, but let me see. So he's messaged me on Facebook.
Oh, very cool.
Over to Facebook.
You know what I was thinking the other day, and that's is probably something that y'all have already thought about. But if the moon landing supposedly happened the way it said, and we're spinning at whatever miles an hour, and the moon's going around us, wouldn't that? I can't even imagine what speed they would have had to supposedly match the shuttle. Because if we're spinning here and the moon's going here around. Like in a relay race on track, you got that really short space where you hand off the baton and you got to match speeds in that. I don't know what miles an hour that would have had to been, but that would have had to been pretty accurate.
Well, more than 67,000 miles an hour. We know that because we know the Earth is going that fast around the sun, and then the moon is going around the Earth, and then it's spinning. So it's got it'd have to be like 100,000 miles an hour or something. But you got so many other problems. There's no atmosphere. How are they landing? How are their thrusters? Why was there no burn crater? Why was there no dust in the footprint in the the leg, you know, the pad of the lunar lander? Why was there? How did it take off? You know, thrust. What's it pushing against? How did the camera pan up? Right. Here's the thing. People will think that in whatever year it was, 69, 70, 71, I don't remember when the first moon landing was exactly, but when it took off, the camera panned up and followed it. Have you seen that video where it panned up and watched the lunar? Okay. Well, supposedly there's an 8-second delay from us to the ISS. If they talk to the ISS, it's 8 seconds. That's 250 miles. The moon is 240,000 miles, a little bit less. Well, depending on the apogee, but 238,000, 240,000 miles away compared to 250. We have in today's modern technology, we have an 8-second delay communicating with astronauts on that fake ISS. So imagine late 1960s, they said they remote controlled the camera to take a video of the lunar landing, lunar module taking off, right? You'd have oh my gosh, I don't know how many hours of delay. If it's 8 seconds for 250 miles, and you're talking about 240,000 miles, that's
like 1,000 times that.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm gonna pull up a video. So Renard, you have to ask Angelica a question, or vice versa. I'm gonna find a video while I put you guys on the spot.
Renard, I was when you were off, I was asking Thompson if he looked much into Project Bluebeam. For me, that is a end time deception that'll tie flat Earth and religion together. Have you looked into that much?
What is it called? Project.
Yeah, Project Bluebeam.
Wait, you broke up. Project Bluebird.
Bluebeam.
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 Yeah.
Thompson, is that on the hard drive?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've talked about this, but I don't know if you've heard it called Project Bluebeam, but it's the alien deception that's coming, right? So there's going to be an alien deception. I don't know. Do you remember me talking with you about that? Like this end time alien deception. The whole world's going to join together. This is going to be like the climactic, ending to the new world order. Just like Reagan said, if there were this alien enemy, the world would all come together, right?
Yeah. Clinton said the same thing.
Yeah. So they're setting the stage, right? Because that's all the whole world is, the stage. For me, it's all like, I'm so politically ignorant at this point because I just don't care at all. Like it's all fake, right? It's for me now when like Trump's walking with Kim Jong-un, whatever, and it's like, this is just this is like literally a stage, literally, like it's all fake. I don't care. They just have us fighting with each other. 6 landings in 3 to 4 years, 12 men walking on the surface, right?
And when you say the world is a stage, when you know what we know, then we're actually under the stage as well. So we're not only on the stage looking out, but we're under a stage. And I think it's going to be quite a show. Either we won't be around for or eyes open, but I feel real bad for the people who don't know. And if you look at all Hollywood, and when I say Hollywood, I've seen music videos, all that, the inundation and the saturation of all the alien stuff, the transhumanism, it's really like a satanic novelty project. It's the end times from Satan's point of view, and we're just buying it up. It's a action figures to color in books to Disney rides. And so when the curtain gets pulled back, we're not going to have such a shock and awe, but there's going to be so many people cheering it on. And it's just, the saturation to me is intense.
Yeah. And by the way, John, I'm pretty sure John's, I'm not sure if he's a flat earther, but he definitely didn't buy the moon landings. I don't know why they're not showing up. Our messages are supposed to overlay on the screen, but they're not. It says messages from audience will display here. They're not. But yeah, I get the impression if he's not a flat earther, he certainly doesn't believe in the moon landings. Here, let me, I'm going to share a video.
All right.
Here we go. Let me turn this on. Put us on the bottom here. All right. So check. Here's the. I don't know if y'all saw this, but the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, they played the first the landing of the lunar module landing on the Earth. Watch this thing sway from left to right. It's clearly being lowered on a crane. Watch it. This is being, and look, the thruster never changes brightness, right? Like supposedly there's a thruster there, and look, it's swaying left to right. Can you see? This is on a rope, obviously. You can see by the way it's going like this.
Wow.
And I can't believe they played that on the monument, right? Like it was just clearly the most fake video of all time.
And where was that displayed?
The monument landing for the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. This was on the monument landing. I'm thinking where I live. The Washington Monument. I live off Monument Landing. This is how well my brain works.
Like the largest obelisk that we have in our nation.
And you know it's like a 666. You know you're familiar with all the 666 in it, right? Like it's
yeah.
Yeah. Man, I just so Renard mentioned earlier, I gave him this hard drive. Every video I've ever come across that I felt was any good at all, I save, and I have a way to pull down. I've devised one way or another. If I can't like download that video, I'll ice cream screen record it. I'll just screen record it right off my desktop if I have to. But I've saved every video and photo that I ever thought was worth a darn.
Good.
I'm getting a reverberation from someone. I don't know who it is.
I'm gonna be.
Is it me?
Let's see. Hello. Yeah, I think it was going through Renard. No, I still got it. Let me mute you for 1 second, Angelica. I'll give it to you. Hello. I think it's Angelica. Yeah.
I'm always the problem person.
It's going through. I think for some reason that's messing with me hard. Let me do this. Hello.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get this audio worked out. Messing with me because it's reverberating. But now it went away. But yeah, so I have this hard drive, and I've given several copies of it away. I gave it one to a guy named Fernando in my timeline. I've given one to Renard. I've given one to someone else. But I'll absolutely copy my hard drive for anyone that wants to see. I think it's got the best. It's just got gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of videos for not just flat Earth, for everything. Like any whether it's Pizzagate or whether it's giants or geoglyphs or Disney or dinosaurs or whatever, evolution. I save it. I save everything. Now Renard should go ahead and share some of the things that you're into. Some of yours. Renard's like a serious health nut, and he's also into nootropics, and he's into just like if you go to his house, he is the cleanest eater arguably in the whole universe. Like if you go there and he's like, he'll make like healthy anything. I don't care what it is. Like he can make healthy chocolate. I don't know how he does it, but no matter what it is healthy and it tastes delicious. But you want to share some of that knowledge you got there, Renard? No, we don't hear you. No.
Okay, good, right? Yeah. So I've been doing jiu-jitsu now for 20 years. And I would say that when it comes to health and wellness, I know that better than I know jiu-jitsu. My mother had stage 4 cancer, breast cancer, and also lymphoma back in January 2016. So they were supposed to go through chemo later because she kept getting infections, and it was just her immune system was shit. So in the interim, I said, look, I honestly think that I can do something to help you, and I know some really interesting people. I said, but I'm not going to waste my time if you're not going to do exactly what I tell you to do. And so she said, yeah, okay, good, I'll do it. So blood thicker, catch you later, man. So I went out and I bought some very specific supplements and changed her entire dietary lifestyle. So she ultimately went vegan, organic, and she still never exercised. But, to give you a background, I think the last time she did anything physical was when she was on the swim team in high school, when she was maybe 14, 15 years old. She smoked cigarettes since she was a young girl. She drinks beer. She was overweight, and the food that she consumed on a day-to-day basis would have killed anyone 30 years prior. So it's all fried food, pig, everything. I mean, you name it, she consumed it. So it's no surprise. And so I was like, how can I feel sorry for you? I was like, you did it to yourself. And at that time, after I stopped being pissed off at her about it, I said, all right, look, we're going to change. Fast forward, long story short, she gets on the lifestyle that I told her to get on. She does all the things that I have her do, and it's some suggestions that my friends had her do as well. So at the end of April, she went in to get a screening to find out where they're going to apply the chemo. And the doctor simply said, look, we don't show any signs of cancer in your body at all. And the big question was, who told you you had cancer?
Wow.
And I'm getting major feedback now. So at that point, they're advising her to get chemo, radiation, and have a double mastectomy. And I said, why would you do that? She said, well, because the doctor told me to. And I said, listen, would it make sense for you or for me to get those treatments? She says, no. I said, well, why not? That's rather rhetorical. And I said, why not? She was like, because you don't have cancer. I said, exactly. Neither do you. He just told you you don't have cancer. So why are you going to do it? She does it anyway. I was like, you're a freaking idiot. So I was like, you know what? Don't you dare ask me for my help ever again. I said, when you go through all that shit and you suffer, which you will suffer, I said, you're going to suffer badly because of all that crap that they're putting in your body. Don't ask my wife. I said, if you ask my wife, I said, I'm going to make it so I'll divorce her. I said, I'm that serious about it. I said, I'm not playing around with you. I said, I'm the one who got you out of this situation. I'm the one, not the doctor. He never even saw you. He never gave you one thing. And I said, I'm the one who did it. I said, so you would think that I would know what the hell I'm talking about. So now, fast forwarding this conversation, her arm is completely numb. Very, very little blood circulation. You do this and there's nothing. So she has these tingling feelings. And I know what it is. I know what supplements she can take to take it. I told her I said, look, talk to your doctor. Have him figure it out for you. I said, I mean what I say and I say what I mean. I'm not telling you. Go to him. And she was like, well, I said, and if you ask Leanne, I told Leanne, I was like, if you tell her anything that I tell you, you and I are going to have problems. I said, this is the biggest slap in the face. I said, I took her from stage 4 cancer. She's a fat, overweight lady who never exercised. I say, do you know what the prognosis is for someone like her? I said, do you know what it's the probability of someone like her surviving 2 types of cancer at stage 4? I was like, are you crazy? I said, and she did it. So to this day, I haven't revealed to her anything. I wrote up a bunch of things to the different cancers and institutes, and the Susan G. Corman, and all these other places. And I just kind of copied and pasted the thing, and I told them exactly what happened and how and what I did. And I would think that they would want to welcome it with open arms, and they were just like, thanks, but no thanks. And I said, okay, I'll never ever donate one dime. So I don't donate to any of those charities and those nonprofits. They're a ripoff. So they're not interested in people's health. That's evident. So I don't contribute to it. And so I said, you know what? If someone wants my help, fine. Here's the easy solution to you. Go organic. This is just damn simple. Go organic. Load up on chlorella. Detox yourself. Do fasting, coffee enemas, and go insane with chlorella. And then drink a shitload of water. The other little secret thing is if you take raw honey, you get a pound of raw honey, you add a shot of whiskey to it, and then you take the stalk of an aloe plant, shave off the endings, chop it up, blend it so it's all liquefied in there. And then what it does, it opens up your your arteries. And then the sugar basically attracts the cancer, and then the aloe kills it. So we did that, and it worked. It's not conventional. It's not, you can't patent it. And so people say, well, it's scientifically proven. I was like, yeah, my mother's still alive. How's that? Is that enough?
Where'd you come up with that? How'd you come up with that, Bernard?
With what?
Like, how'd you come up with that as a solution?
The honey, aloe, and
yeah.
I didn't. It's a popular remedy in the Dominican Republic for people who have cancer. Yeah, I have a friend, a very good friend, man. And he goes, dude, the people in the DR, he was just like, dude, he's like, we get rid of cancer like it's a common cold. It's not that big of a deal, man. I was like, are you serious? He was like, yeah. He's like, it's not that big of a deal, man. He's like, in America, they make it a big deal because it's a big money maker. He's like, but no, it's not. He's like, you'll get rid of it. Just like, hey, man, I got this illness. Okay, well, you can get rid of it. There's a guy named Dr. Sabi. They killed him. Sabi, Dr. Sabi. Mm-hmm. The guy cured AIDS, every form of cancer, blindness, deafness, and he was a doctor, and he had volumes of records that they got from their doctor. He treated them, and then they saw his doctor again, and then it's like, here's another proof. So the FDA sued, basically brought him up on charges saying that he's practicing medicine without a license. So he said, well, and they also tried to say, well, you're making claims that you can cure things. He's like, I can. Here's the proof. So when he went to court, all these AIDS people, these people with AIDS, 77 people showed up. We had AIDS. We don't have AIDS. We saw him, and it's gone. So if you fast, if you do like a 90-day fast, an herbal fast, you'll kill everything. Cancer, they do chemo, and chemo basically wipes out everything, but in a very, very negative way. When you fast, it gives your body, specifically your digestive system, an opportunity to kind of process old paperwork. So if you think about a junk drawer, your body, all bodies have a junk drawer. So if you take in crappy food, you go to Chick-fil-A, eat fast food, anything, you eat anything out of an aluminum can, non-organic GMO kind of crap, anything with dyes, like Gatorade, Powerade, any of that shit right there. Cereals have what's known as trisodium phosphate, which is industrial cleaner, which course, they put that in kids' baby formula as well. So your body knows what to do with carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So it basically is just like, okay, all right, it's just like dealing a poker hand. All right, the fats are going over here, proteins are going over here, carbohydrates are going over here. I don't know where we should put red dye 6 or yellow dye 7. Hey, put that in a junk drawer. Put that in a junk drawer. Put that in a junk drawer. And then what about all this undigested meat? Where do we put that? What about all this processed stuff? What about all these chemicals? Put that in a junk drawer. What do you think happens when a bunch of criminals get together? It's like, dude, it's going to formulate some crazy crap, man. So this is where all of the diseases and illnesses come from. Cancer is a lifestyle disease, right? It can totally be cured by altering your lifestyle. People don't want to change their lifestyle because they like their habits. Fine. Enjoy yourself. Hey, listen, don't complain. Don't go complaining. That's what I told my mother. I said, Mom, when you get cancer again, and you will, I don't want to know about it. I don't care. I said, because this is 100% on you. So when you hear about people talking about that they have diabetes, they have strokes and heart attacks and cancer, oh, poor you. Oh my God. God bless you. I'm like, they did it to themselves. How can you feel sorry for something like that? I don't. It's just like, hey, I shoot myself in the face, and then I'm like, oh, you should feel sorry for me. Why? You're the one who shot yourself in the face, man. How can we feel sorry for you? But anyway, man, I'm going down a rabbit hole about me getting pissed off about people not caring about their bodies. So anyway, dude, that's it, man. So I spend a lot of time doing that stuff right there, and I'm creating programs right now to help people reshape and reset their lives.
Yeah. So, just in case should anyone watch this, we actually had one watcher. So that was I don't know how many people are watching. We had one guy communicate, so it didn't tell me how many people should watch, but assuming we have watchers, just so anyone knows, we're all martial artists. So currently the name of this is Jiu-Jitsu and Coffee. And Angelica, tell a little bit about your martial arts background and your school and where you're located and all that, so they kind of know a little bit about you from a martial arts standpoint.
Yeah. Do you have feedback when I take away? Can you hear? Okay.
Is it choppy for you, Renard?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little choppy when you're talking right now.
I'll mute.
Let me get a little closer.
No,
is that better or worse?
I can hear you now. That's better. Yeah.
Okay. I always had my mic muted because I'm actually outside hiding. So when you say where's my gym, it's in the middle of nowhere, which is probably why I'm so warbled here. We started martial arts in Pennsylvania when I was a teenager, and then the peak of my career was in Florida, and then I got older, so my peak went down, and now I'm in Washington State. So we're up near Canada. The school's up here. So when Roger and I had moved out here, one of the first things we wanted to do is look for a gym to train, and we realized there was none. There were a few people that claimed to be jiu-jitsu black belts, and we're like, wow, that's awesome. We literally drove like 30 miles to this one guy. Said, yeah, I'm a jiu-jitsu. Like, yes, we found one. And we went up there, and he didn't even know how to pummel or how to like switch step his feet. We're like, I don't think this is right. So what we quickly discovered is, because there aren't really any gyms up here, that there were several people able to claim any amount of accomplishment, and it was left unchallenged.
Yeah. Because
who would know any better? So there was a lot of people that, oh, I fought this and I did this, but it was, within 5 minutes, clear that was like a Maury Povich. That's a lie. And so it turned out that we realized if we were going to train, we had to be the trainer. So I think I've been a blue belt for a long time. I've never progressed. I'm higher than a blue belt in heart, but no, I've been a solid blue belt, and I can tell you there's only one other guy that I found up here in the I say up here in probably a 60-mile radius that is a purple belt. Everyone else is no belt.
Yeah, but
and so
when did you get your
I've been
like 2000 what?
I don't even know. I only had 3 kids, so however long ago that was.
Yeah, I remember you were a blue belt in Jacksonville like years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
no one's promoted you, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, you're well.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. I know where I am in my heart. That's all right.
Yeah.
Roger's the same rank, and so when we came up here, we were really looking forward to having a new style to learn, and we did a quick assessment of the land, and we were the highest ranks.
Yeah.
It's a little depressing.
Yeah, you just
so yeah. Anyway, that's where we're training now. Spokane. I'm sure you know some fighters that have come out of the Spokane gym because they've been in like the Ultimate Fighter stuff, but that's an hour and a half or 2-hour drive in any direction to find someone that's got actual legit martial arts. So when we started our gym, there was a little bit of tension because we came on the scene with experience, and so all the people that were claiming for however long before we got here that they were this and that, they didn't really appreciate that too much. So we made some enemies right off the bat by nothing other than just being here. But quickly then, we started literally from the ground up and just teaching people the basics of striking and jiu-jitsu and everything else. So we started forming this little mini army of children soldiers. So we've got a really good. The cool thing is because it's such a small town and most everyone's of our students are home and they're all farm kids. It's really neat. It's more casual. It's not so. I want to say it's not so structured, disciplined, as in everyone has to be in line and the uniforms has to be white. Sometimes they'll sweep the mats, and then after class, there's chicken feathers on the mat because everyone just emptied out their boots. It's very country. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And then especially with all, I'd say about 90% of our students are homeschooled. And so when they get there, like they haven't seen people all day long, and they're just happy to not have to do farm chores. So our classes are a little bit more casual in the structure sense, but we haven't shaved off any structure in discipline or function. So it's really neat. It's a new dynamic.
Yeah. And it's called, you never said the name of it, I don't think. It's called
Refining Fire is our gym name.
Yeah. And both you and Roger are both experienced, accomplished mixed martial artists. You both had your share of fights in the rings, of course. So
it's really neat too because he and I are opposite on everything of style, and so it matches.
Yeah.
We have like most of our students, like, you don't have to be Christian. It's not a prerequisite, but it's pretty much our whole student basis. So that's a nice, refreshing class dynamic.
Oh, that's cool. That's super cool. So Renard, do you want to share a little bit about your martial arts background so everyone will know why we're called Jiu-Jitsu and Coffee for now?
Yeah, so I got interested in Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I was like, well, first it was Kung Fu Theater on Saturday mornings, and then it'd go, hey, I was like, oh man, I got to learn that crap right there. I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. So I think when we finally had an opportunity to finally, get money wrangled up, or I had money wrangled up, I went to an Aikido school in Buffalo, New York. And, my parents had no clue. I was just going to shovel driveways, rake leaves, whatever, just to pay for the membership. And so I go in there and I see a class full of people, and this instructor had a book right at the door, and he would teach a move, run back, look at the book, and it was a gun defense, and he'd run back to the class, teach a move, and he did it like 4 or 5 times. And I said to myself, I don't know much, but I know I'm not learning. I said, I'm not going to learn from a dude that's learning from a book. I'll get killed. So I walked out and I kind of put it to the side. Then we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina back in 2001. And I found an Aikido school. It was like 30 miles away. I was like, I'm going to go to it. So I called the Aikido instructor and he says, yeah, I'll be there. I'll meet you there. So I'm there waiting and he stiffed me. And so a guy who sublet at the place, he was teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He goes, look, man, you don't want to do that Aikido stuff. You want to do Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was like, what? What's that? He goes, ground fighting. I was like, dude, I ain't getting on the ground with some man. He goes, all fights in on the ground. I was like, all right, sounds good. I'll try it. So I go in there and now I'm 6'4", 200 and just under 250, jacked as hell, traps like here. I mean, that's all I did was just lift weights. Now I'm like a skinny crackhead, where anyone can just probably muscle me and bend me. So I said to so I'm with the guy, and he goes, Bobby, you remember Snake and Slim? Yeah, so Snake and Slim, we started there together. And I go in there. I said, look, man. He goes, hey, man, roll with that kid over there. I was like, that kid right there. The kid was like 16 years old, maybe 140 pounds. I was like, dude, I'm not rolling with some kid, man. I said, I'll kill him. I said, don't put me up with some kid. I said, put me up with these men right here or something. He's like, no, you don't want to go with them, dude. Go with the kid. And then he goes, hey, Joey, take it easy on him. The fuck he said to me? Take it easy on me? I was like, man, let me show this kid something. I didn't know. He goes, get in his guard. I said, what? He goes, get in his guard. I was like, what's a guard, dude? And he says, get on your knees, and he's going to wrap his legs around you. I said, okay. Now what do? Try to tap him. I said, what's tap? Like tap him like this? And I really didn't know anything. That gives you an idea. And he goes, no, man, try to make him say uncle. I said, oh, okay, I got it. Okay. So I didn't know anything. I grabbed the back of his head and I started can opening him. I'm like, I'm going to snap this kid's head and I can do it legally. So I'm doing like a seated roll on his head. Dude, he spun around and double arm barred me. And I was like, ah! My arm started popping. You can hear it go tink, tink, tink. I was like, ah! And he finally lets it go. And I was like, you mother. And I went back to punch him with my left hand because my right hand was jacked up. I couldn't even move it. I went back to punch him. And then Snake and Slim grabbed my arm. I said, let me go. Let me go, man. I said, that kid trying to kill me, man. I said, let me go. I'm going to punch this kid right in his face. And then I said, damn, my arm. I said, I'm getting out of here, man. You guys trying to kill me. I drove home in my stick shift, hard as hell, with a busted arm. And here's the kicker. This is why I'm in jiu-jitsu now. It's because of my freaking wife. She opened up her damn mouth to me. She goes, how was it, honey? And I was just like, it was terrible. This guy tried to freaking kill me, man. Pop my damn arm. Can't even use my freaking arm now. My elbow hurts like hell. And she puts her hand on me. She's like, oh, you don't have to go back there with those guys anymore. They don't want them to hurt you. Motherfucker. I said, get your hands off of me. I said, no, I am going back there. I said, I am. She goes, no. They'll just hurt you. I was like, oh, my God. I'm going back. So Thompson, I drive back there. My arm is hurting like crazy still. And I was like, and I apologize. I said, look, guys, I don't know what the hell you people are doing down here in this basement. I don't know what the hell that kid did to me. All I know is one damn thing, man. I want in. I want in on this shit, man. And I said, whatever you guys need me to do, I'm doing it. So I always treated myself as a student. I never had an ego because that kid stole it from me. I've always been humbled because a 16-year-old, 140-pound kid that I outweighed by 100 pounds and I thought I was like jack shit beat the hell out of me. And so all I can do now is look back and just say it was the best thing that happened to me. So I've been doing it since 2001 under Hoist for 14 years and then under Louise for the rest. So that's my... I've done tournaments. You know, I got my all I wanted was one IBJJF title. Got it in Switzerland with my best friend. We had an awesome time in Switzerland and everywhere else too. So that was cool. Yeah, man. But that was that's it. Now we run Gracie Lake Norman in Mooresville, North Carolina. We got I think we got a good kid program. Yeah, we got a good kid program, good adult program. We got I'm trying to remove myself and empower other people now so they can teach and share what they know. I want the spotlight on them. So that's where I'm doing right now. So anyone who had like, really high level blue belts or purple belts, hey man, teach the class on, the punch block series. Teach the class on, whatever, self-defense. And then I'll just sit there and just be a student. So I'm always a student every day, man. I don't like the hierarchy. So pass it off to them. Anyway, that's my deal. What about you, old Thompson, Grand Wizard?
Yeah, I wasn't far behind you. I started at the end of 2002. So I was 30 years old. I just turned 30. I'm 48 now.
Hoist has hair.
Hoist has hair. So I started with Hoist when Hoist had hair, and I had a thick head of hair too, but yeah, that's it. That was my first Hoist Gracie seminar right there. And I was addicted. I was absolutely sold. And man, I just started training 5 days a week with one of Hoist's blue belts. And then, he became a purple belt and I became a blue belt. And then it just kept on. And eventually I, went under Hoist myself, and I trained with Hoist I think I was with him for like 11 years. I was with him for 11 years. Yeah. And then I moved to Master Luis.
Well, no, wait a second, Thompson. You're leaving a whole bunch of shit out. You traveled with the man all over the world. You set up all his seminars globally. You were his right-hand man. So you're not going to say Jack, so I will. So, Angelica, that's the truth about old Bobby Thompson. Right there. Yep.
Yeah, I did. I mean, yeah, I was lucky enough to travel around with Hoist. It was cool because but yeah, I don't, yeah, like 11 years under Hoist and then under Master Luis. I was addicted to it, just like you, just like all of us, just like Angelica, just like you. We all got the fever and we trained every day. And I did for 18 years up until a year ago. I was like 5, 6, sometimes 6 days a week, some weeks even 7. We've all had that fever. But I gave away my school to my students so I could have time for my family and for myself, so I could train when I want. So like you, Renard, I kind of took it a step further. Right up until a year ago, at about 17 years in, I was 5 days a week and just and I stepped back a little bit. So I have time for myself now, and I can so now I put a lot more time into religion and flat earth and learning about what's really important, right? Like, I mean, not
I know what you meant.
yeah, not taking anything away from the MMA fans out there, jiu-jitsu fans we have out there, but your place in this world and with God is way more important, right? Like that's our tie. That's what brought the three of us together, is that we all are kind of walking the same path. And I want to bring on a whole bunch.
I think a big thing with martial arts too, that we have to keep it from becoming an idol, is to understand seasonal. Nothing can always be in season or always dormant. And if martial arts in any level of professionalism becomes your only identity, that's when you see the big major disappointments, when you lose or you can't recover emotionally or physically from those things. So there's a season for us to be in a peak, with our fight careers, I believe.
Yeah, I went through that in like 2011, 12, 13. Man, I wanted to be the best in the world, right? And then like 2 years ago, I started kind of having like this awakening where I was like, I'd found religion, and religion was starting to play a part in my life. But then there came a point in a time when I just said, this is ruling me in my life. Now, I'm not being anti-martial arts or anti-jiu-jitsu, but I knew it had too much control in my life, and I was too much about my ego, right? That's why I took a step back, is I did not want it to define me. I didn't want martial arts to define me. If I was going to be defined by anything, it was going to be by God and by religion, Christianity, and being reborn. that's how I decided I wanted to be defined. Right. I still train. I train this weekend. I'll train, you know, sometimes once a week, sometimes twice a week, not nearly as much as I did train, but I have time for my daughter now, and I have time to make dinner at home, and I have time to, and I just train when I want now. So, and I'm not concerned. I mean, man, I'm not concerned with having to be the best anymore. So it's not that big a deal, right? Like I don't care if someone's out training me 3 days a week anymore because, you know, how many people become, and a belt really doesn't mean anything anyway. I was gonna say how many people become a black belt. You know, Angelica, you've trained so long and you don't have anyone promoting you, you know, like, are you in someone's system? I'm curious. Like, are you?
No.
Thompson, you know what, man? This is one of those times. This is one of those times when yin and yang need to come together and hook her and her husband up, man.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys came out here to teach something, I'd have to pre-frame everyone to be like, look, guys, there's some company coming. Be on your best behavior. I'm going to run through some protocol real quick so that you know how to bow on and off the mat.
I don't do the bowing stuff at our school.
Country out here, it's crazy. Like if you came out here, they would think you were magicians.
Yeah, we don't do the bowing stuff and all the rituals, bow in, bow out. I don't like people calling me professor. This kid is like, sensei. And I was like, hey, listen, little dude. I was like, my name's not sensei. My name is, you can call me, if anything, Mr. Renard. All right, Mr. Rababa. Yeah, close enough. Okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was never.
Well, you know what's crazy too about where you are, Thompson, in your ability to ease off. I don't know if y'all had the same challenge, but it was hard for me to chip that off of my identity a little bit. I didn't realize how much that and it wasn't even whether I was winning, losing, had points, but that ability to attach I'm gonna get like mushy, but to attach my worth, my ability, my purpose to something that was on the mat. And especially when you're good, you're like, yeah, this is who I am. So to cool off of that was kind of like ripping a Band-Aid off quick. But I think it's for, and so I if you know anyone hears us as saying it's not a worthy pursuit. It absolutely not only worthy, but I think it's necessary, because the discipline and the self-discipline that you have to enforce on the mat, if you're gonna roll that over into people that don't have that ability to tell themselves no, whether it's fasting or cutting weight or getting, going another round, if they don't have that ability to tell themselves, they're not going to be any stronger in their faith. For me, it was an absolute direct correlation being able to be tested on the mat as it is being tested in faith. I don't think I would be a strong Christian without being a fighter, and I would not have been a decent fighter if I wasn't a Christian. I don't know how people do them exclusively. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah. It was always a part of your identity. You were very Christian. You struck me as a Christian, good person. Well, you were never ashamed of being a Christian, right? Some people, you always put it out there. At least I got that impression. As long as I've known.
I was a broken Christian. Those are, I think, the most authentic kind, because you realize, man, if I try to do anything of my own, it's just a big mess. I don't know how many times I was in the sauna just crying, because girls cry. I think guys get mad and girls cry. Is that how it happens when you're at in fight camp, right? When it gets rough and we're bawling and we're still sparring, but we're crying. And I don't know how many times in the sauna, like there was just be scriptures that just come to life, like I'm the bread of life, or if you drink of this water, you'll never thirst again. And I'd be like, I need my Bible, and that the glue would start melting off the binding and stuff. But like I don't think I could have even cut weight without having faith. And I know there's a whole lot of times in life that if I would not have been punched in the face so much, that I would have been able to put meat to the faith. I don't know how non-Christian fighters make it through, honestly.
I think they sell their souls to the devil. No, like I think they sell their soul. There's certain people when you see them in action, you're like, okay, this dude. There's certain like Thompson. You remember how you were talking about Eminem?
Yeah.
How he does things. You're just like, yo, that guy. It's impossible, man.
Yeah.
It's absolutely impossible to do what that man is doing, unless they make that agreement. And some people do, but it's like, dude, do you realize you're getting the short end of the stick when you sell your soul? You're only getting 5 years, tops 10, and then you're completely obsolete. And for the person that didn't sell their soul, maybe they were number 2, but at least they walked out with dignity, and you didn't. So there's some people on the jiu-jitsu scene right now who I'm like, yeah, I would gather that they have sold their soul, man. I would gather they've sold their soul, but
they're definitely doing.
And it's all for the approval of men anyway.
Exactly. I'm like, dude, you're trying to impress men. Like, you people are nuts.
Yeah, like when I was peaking, so to speak, when I was trying to be the toughest dude in the world, I was taking so many steroids. I got up to like 250. I'm 170. My natural weight's 160 to 170. It could go down to 1. And I was so vain, and I wanted recognition so bad. I wanted to be the, and I haven't taken a steroid in I don't know how long, 8, 9, probably 8 years or something like that. Like, that's not something anyone should be proud of. I'm proud of it, right? Like I'm like, I don't care how skinny I get now. Like I'm 6'4", 170. That's pretty skinny. But and I've been tempted. Like it is tempting. It's tempting because I go to the gym, and I've been going to the gym for like 2 years, hard, lifting hard till my legs shake, till I don't put on a pound. Nothing change, and it's tempting because you're like, there's no testosterone in my body. My body just doesn't make it, and you could go get prescribed this stuff, but I won't do it now. It's like, all right, now this is what God gave me. I'm supposed to do what I can with this, right? And I'm firm in that now. There's no wiggle room anymore, right? So yeah, I just I really want to try and have no vanity, right? That's one of my goals now. But yeah, that changed me. Yeah, that changed me big time. Now, martial arts is a part of my life, but it doesn't rule my life.
But do you feel that if you wouldn't have pushed as hard as what you did in your prime, that you would have had the same amount to contribute now? Because like what I'm saying is, like, when you devote so much and sacrifice so much and just go like a bull straight forward, I think that leaves you enough residual attributes to then keep influencing even after you're no longer in your prime, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I were going to be arrogant, I would say, to be arrogant, I'll say, I think I can teach any black belt something. I don't care who it is. There's things, and I think we all can. That's just part of when you keep doing something for decades, you learn things, and we all excel in different things. One guy's got a wicked guillotine, and the other guy has a wicked heel hook and leg attack system, and the other guy just has a wicked back attack system. We all excel in different areas. And,
right.
It was cool that I did that. I think if I could go back, my life would be totally different. I probably wouldn't be known for jiu-jitsu at all, in the circles that I'm known for jiu-jitsu, just because I have a different hunger now, right? Like, jiu-jitsu is always going to be part of my life. There's no doubt about it. I'm always going to train. This weekend I went and trained at one of the top schools in Jacksonville.
What school was it?
I'll probably get myself in trouble, but BTT. And, I don't want to get in trouble with Luis and I don't want to get in trouble with them. I don't want to, but it was interesting because some of my old students are going there. And one of my old students who's really jacked, man, the dude's just 215, 220, he's absolutely jacked, purple belt. And he was just bragging on this other black belt. And he's like, this black belt right here is the straight savage. He just wrecks everybody. This dude's just like the shit. And I was like, man, he got me all, I'm like, I'm not training, but twice a week right now. And this dude's like one of the top dudes at the school. And he was like, hey, y'all should roll. And I'm like, I'm a little nervous, I'm like, but I held my own, we went back and forth and I surprised the dude with a really, really, really sneaky footlock that I slap on just about everybody. And he didn't tap to it, but he didn't get me either. So it was good. We went really hard for 5 minutes and I felt like we were an even match. So I was stoked, I still got some fire left in me. And of course the school was packed. There was like 30 dudes there, all, mostly blue belting up, a couple black belts, I rolled with all the black belts there. I rolled with all the black belts, brown belts and a couple purple belts, but held my own. And I'm not it is a seriously good school. The dudes are really top level, but I was worried. I was worried that I, wouldn't handle my own, right? Because I'm rusty. I'm not training 5 days a week anymore. Like when you stop training 5 days a week, you roll through things and you don't even wait a minute, I used to know something here and it's not clicking right now. It's like you actually get rusty. It happens. I'm rusty, but still did all right. It's fine. You can always ride the bike, right?
Right.
So
nice.
we gotta sneak up to Washington, Renard. We gotta do that. If not, this is number one on Chin's to-do list. She's been nagging me forever. Yes. We were supposed to go a couple weeks ago. We were actually supposed to go, but the weather got really bad, and we still went somewhere else in really bad weather. We went up to Michigan and Maine and all this stuff. We did like a week and a half tour of the East Coast. But now she's down to like 3 states to have visited all 50 states. And it's Washington and Oregon and like one other, something like that. So
you guys have been in North Dakota, South Dakota?
Yeah. Minnesota, right. Michigan, we've done all the East Coast now, all the middle, we just didn't make it to the far left yet, to the far top left. So I think
it's definitely the far left.
Right. It's the hypotenuse of America. You'd have to travel.
Wow. Yeah, but it looks gorgeous. I don't think I've ever been to Washington. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I'd love to. It looks like a place I forget what it's like. I grew up in Kentucky, but I've been in the city so long now, that just looks beautiful.
So you've been to Montana then, at Big Sky Country. So our sky's like the same here. You can see there's shooting stars like every night. So if you want to see stars, man, every night it's gorgeous because there's absolutely no light pollution at all. You can see everything.
Can you see the Northern Lights?
On occasion it's seasonal. So and that also if I'm not in bed already, because it's usually they usually come out later. But yeah, you can see the Northern Lights from here, but if you go probably about 20 miles north, you can see them a lot better. First time I saw the Northern Lights, I didn't know what they were. I thought it was like an alien invasion. I was a teenager, but no one told me.
So you can see it. I mean, you can actually clearly see the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I had someone trying to tell me that you can't see that with your eyes. You need long distance or long exposure film or something. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure you can see that with your eyes, man. Like,
no, it's like neon. So they come in like green and pink. And the first time I saw them as a teenager, they were neon green. And I was looking up like, does not anyone else see this? Because I'm kind of freaking out right now. And then someone told me what they were. Yeah.
That's some weird stuff, man. I wonder what's the background behind the Northern Lights?
Here's the thing. I gotta interject, because if you ask me, that's where God's throne is, right? Like above that. Like if you that's the I think how do you feel about that, Angelica? I mean, do you have a similar theory?
Yeah, a couple years ago, I would have said it's the ions bouncing off each other and creating some sort of amoeba-like. But now that I know better, it's absolutely the same color. So if you read in scripture,
Yes.
both in Revelation,
Yep.
Job, and then also Moses, when he went up and saw that fire firmament, it's the same exact colors that were underneath God's feet and around the throne.
Yep, that's why I believe that too. Is I've read those verses as well where they talk about the colors and it's the exact colors. I actually have a video. Renard, you have it, and it's this guy did a scientific thing about it. Like he actually went and I can't remember it now. I can't remember the details of it. I'm gonna find it and send it to you. It's gonna blow your mind when he talks about the exact colors we see with the with the northern lights.
Yeah, it's like sardine and jasper, and there's no southern lights. Obviously, that's something that I never thought about until I learned what I learned. But yeah, and then obviously the North Star is the only star that doesn't move, and so that's that.
Yeah, I don't here's the thing. The moment I found out about star trails and that all the circles, all the stars did perfectly, I was done. Like, right. I was like, are you kidding me? Year after year, every night for decades, millennia, we got one star in the center and it looks like a record around that. That was enough right there.
Yeah. And you have to think, I was watching a video and the guy was talking about evolution, and I think it was Sam Harris versus that theologian and philosopher scientist guy that I mentioned to you, Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, do you know what the probability is of nothing that's in existence all of a sudden becoming something, and it randomly got it right to create a human, and then on top of that it had to get it right to create a woman, and then on top of that, every living organism. What are the odds of something like that happening? I say, dude, really? Is that what you're honestly telling? And then also, it's just like, think about our bodies. Everything, our bodies are such amazing machines. It knows exactly what to do. We have a filtration system built in. How do you explain that, man? I mean, just, every part of your body works. If you touch your foot, reflexology, and you touch your foot, it can impact your lungs and your central nervous system. Man, it's just fascinating stuff. And it's like, and you honestly think we came from a speck of dust. I believe that one right there, man.
I think one of the best arguments that I heard about evolution and coming from nothing was, and I don't remember who it was to give credit to. It wasn't my thought process, but whoever was speaking said, if we actually believed that something could come from nothing, then there wouldn't be any medical malpractice suits for infection or contaminated utensils, because the doctors could simply say that germ, that virus, that whatever infection came from nothing. When you think about wow, because if you go in for surgery and you end up getting some sort of cross contamination, obviously you can point that back and sue the hospitals, and if you follow that money trail, they would sure use that excuse if it was plausible, right? And then he said the other best way to assume or to prove that no one actually believes something can come from nothing is a jar of peanut butter. He said if you open up a jar of peanut butter and there's a mouse inside, you assume that came from something. He said if there was such a thing as, or even mold or some sort of living organism inside your jar, then it just happened. It didn't just appear. It didn't just grow or create itself inside a sealed jar. And he said if you don't believe that for a jar of sealed food, how in the world could you believe that for an entire universe? So I think no one actually really believe it when it comes down to practicality or a court of law, but I think it's too big of a concept, or I don't know why people defend it once they realize they don't believe it in their own lives.
Well, I think the advent of scientism is really a big thing. Scientism, and people equate science with intelligence. And so you'll hear people say, well, is it scientifically proven? And they'll throw out, well, what's the evidence? It's like, oh, now we're getting there, and you give them the evidence, and then of course, now they're like, well, is it statistically viable? It's like, oh, so I take it that you've taken doctorate level statistics class. So at what point does something become statistically relevant? And why doesn't anecdotal evidence count? Isn't that what science is? Based off of your experiences, what you can see, feel, taste, all that shit right there. So why does that get discounted when I tell you that I had an experience? And do I do 20? What if like 30 people had an experience? Well, hell, how many damn Christians or Muslims or people who have, let's say, a theistic mindset? How many are there? Billions of people. So are billions of people wrong if we all claim to see and experience the same thing? Well, so is that enough science for you? And it's like, dude, shut up with me, man. So, anywho, Thompson, you have 3 cents on that?
I had to use the restroom. That's why I went off screen for a second. I was like, I only caught the
Would
tail
you
end.
pee in a jar?
I got a bathroom right behind me, man. So yeah, I've been drinking coffee all day. I drink too much coffee every day. I got to start drinking more water. I drink like 3-4 cups every day minimum. Yeah, I know. I don't drink enough.
It's a love-hate relationship.
I think like it's why I'm so skinny. Like, I have a theory
It's
that
a
if you
diuretic.
drink a lot of water, but bodybuilders always have big jugs of water too, right? So like, doesn't drinking a lot of water also kind of, or does it not? I'm torn about this because bodybuilders always have jugs of water.
Well,
But they also have kidney stones too.
Yeah, the bodybuilders have to do it for several reasons. One, to flush out all of the toxins. They have the toxins, and plus a lot of the bodybuilders are on diuretics. And so when they're trying to replenish themselves so they don't go into like these weird states, then they'll use the water. Otherwise, they go into like extreme dehydration. If they want to, and then also they beat up on their kidneys so much and their liver and, just basically their organs, they have to flush it out. So I know that when I drink more water, several things happen. One, I have less joint pain. Two, I flush out more impurities in my body, which results in better mental, my cognition and my cognitive abilities are far superior than if I don't drink it right there. Also, I have less body aches. And then as far as like from a weight gaining standpoint, water weighs more. Do you guys remember that MMA fighter, Jermaine? Oh, I forget her last name. She was a Dutch kickboxer. She was like 44-0. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, she's a beast.
Yeah, she's an asshole too.
I'm sure.
No, well, you know what?
I don't remember her name, but yeah, she had curly hair, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm just being mean. Anyway, so I remember when she made her MMA debut when we were in Florida, Miami, Florida. Rodney was making his MMA debut. So I was cornering Rodney. Jermaine was fighting his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt at the time, which was sick. And Jermaine was overweight. And it's like when you're trying to cut weight, it's like, dude, eat 5,000 like cheeseburgers. You're not going to put any weight. I said, but if you drink a can of soda or a glass of water, you're screwed. It'll add the weight to you, man. So Jermaine was sitting there with her stupid glasses on, and then she missed weight. I'm like, yeah, no shit. We told her, like, yo, Jay, you better cut. Hey, I didn't know her. I was like, yo, Jay, you better cut out from drinking that damn water and that soda because you're going to pack. I said, you're already overweight. Eat whatever you want, but don't drink the soda. Because they were going to cut your, you had to give up 10% of your purse if you didn't make the weight. Well, she didn't make it anyway. She lost it, but she got arm barred. Like, dude, it was. If you look up Jermaine, go to her fight profile, and then scroll all the way down to her first MMA fight. Watch that fight. We were there. Dude, it is the sickest arm. I thought she broke her arm, dude. I was like, oh shit. Dude, it was sweet. And that Brazilian girl, she just beat her. She just beat the hell out of her. And I was like, where's the cockiness now? She just thought she was going to knock her out. And that Brazilian girl shot in, took her down, pounded the hell out of her. Jermaine reversed it. She spun from an armbar from the guard and pop, 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 pop. I was like, yep. You've lost your money, overweight, and you got armbarred and lost. Congratulations. Yeah. But anyway, but Thompson, drink water. Shitload of water all the time.
Yeah, I never have. I've never drinking, like someone said, drink well here your buddy, right? On YouTube, on Facebook. What's his name? Michael Cawthron or something?
Oh, Michael Catlow.
Catlow, yeah. He showed videos, like photos, where he'd been trying to lose weight for a long time, and he had a gut on him and whatnot.
Yeah, he was out of shit like a mofo.
And he attributed it all to drinking water. Like that's from what I've saw on his Facebook page. He started taking in a bunch of water. I don't know how much, like a jug of water a day. And that's how he lost all his weight. He said that's what did it for him. He said everything he had tried over the years, and he was able to lose all his excess weight, just from drinking water.
Well, look, let me explain to you what's going on there. All right. So, you have like an insane amount of undigested waste in your body right now. And when you hear about people being constipated, they'll hold on to there's not enough moisture because they're dehydrated. So anyone who's constipated, they're dehydrated, severely dehydrated. So what Mike was doing is he was drinking a lot of water and using the bathroom, peeing, removing toxins, pooping like crazy because it softened the stool. So if you eat vegetables or any kind of fiber-based meal, high in fiber, along with water, dude, you're gonna have such productive poop. I'm talking like plow. Hey, that's 2 pounds. Plow. Hey, that looks like a 4-pounder to me. Pow. Oh, that's a 1/4 pounder. Yay. So you're just pooping all this shit out. But then when you're taking in the, let's say you're doing juicing and eating easy, high bioavailable food, meaning food that can be absorbed into your body. Remember what I was talking about, like the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates and shit like that. Well, if it's high quality stuff, your body is like, thanks. This is like the Ferrari of food. Great. Your body just takes what it needs and then pushes it out. So if you can imagine a long pipe and you pack it full of like shit and it's just stuck. Well, when you poop, it only let's say this much comes out. This much comes out. So when people don't use the bathroom, there's no way in the world that you can ever expect them to, 1, be healthy, 2, have a strong immune system, 3, lose weight, and then 4, not develop some kind of chronic disease or illness. So Catlow, by him consuming a bunch of water, it just helped flush out a lot of the impurities and bad shit, thus making it easy for his. It basically is giving your organs, along with your skin being a big detoxer as well. It's just putting it on vacation, guys. Go easy, man. Guys, just get it out. Go, go, go. You don't have to work so hard anymore. I'm getting it out. Have you guys ever heard of mucus plaque?
I think you told me about that. Yeah, but.
Can I show you? Can I show you guys mucus plaque and what's inside of you right now?
I don't know how you can share. I don't think you can share. I don't know. I don't think you can. You can try.
Yeah, it says select the screen or window. Oh yeah, I can.
Okay. Oh, interesting. I didn't know you could.
All right, here we go. Hold on a second, guys. Let's see what's on screen 2. All right, I'm gonna go to screen 1. All right, hold on a second. Unable to share that there's nothing to share. Make sure the browser has permission to record the screen. Let me just give it permission. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just have to give my screen permission. Wait till you see this stuff, guys, and then I'll show you how to get rid of it. It's kind of cool. Okay, I got that. And let me just go to it now. Okay, let me see if I can do it now. All right, and screen one. Haha. All right, can you guys see my screen over here? Cool. Yeah. All right, check this out. All right.
That is super cool. I did not know we could do that. That's another super cool ass feature.
All right. So all right, here we go. Not to gross you guys out, but this is living in your body right as we speak. 100%. Angelica! Yeah, you. Even a woman. Yeah, you got this hanging out right there. Now,
wait, where's that located?
Inside your body, in your colon.
Part of your, yeah,
in your
nice.
colon. Yeah, you can poop it out. You can totally poop it out.
Not right now.
No, but like this is what it looks like, and this is what mine looked like. This is not mine actually, but this is what mine looked like when I finally got it out of my body. Very much like this.
I just want to apologize to anyone out there who's eating dinner right now.
Yes, and sorry guys, but look, if you guys don't, when you talk about people who have like colon cancers and all this stuff right here, guys, this is inside your body. This is totally inside everyone's body. So let me
this only has a medium shock factor for me because I'm still in the diaper stage with my youngest. So the poop examination happens on the daily. Yeah.
So to get rid of it, it's there's a couple things that you need to do. But first, let me just tell you that when you pass that, it's like you're on Adderall every single day. It's truly like you're on Adderall every single day. Because you got to think, think about what your brain needs in order to function. Well, oxygen, of course, okay, and then blood, right? So we get blood, and then you have a cranial fluid as well. So if our blood supply is contaminated, which it is, and how does it get contaminated? Imagine there's a flow, a river or a stream that leads to our brain, and then you're sitting here throwing all the dyes, all the chemicals, all the GMO shit, pesticides, all that crap, the fats in there. Where do you think it's going, dude? To your brain. So and then think about your regular drinking water. So don't drink fluoride. Don't consume fluoride. Period. It's the worst thing ever. Where do you think it's all going? To your brain. So everyone's like, oh, I can't focus. I got bad memory. I got brain fog. I got this. Hell, I had it as well. But when you pass that thing, that's the beginning state. It basically acts as like a cork, but once it removes, it's like poof, the floodgates are gone. So now, getting like, how do you get rid of it? So I've been doing this stuff I've been a vegetarian for 30 years now. I've been a vegan for just about 5. Gluten-free. I'd say a good 95% of our food is organic. The rest of the stuff is like natural GMO, right? I'm still not a big fan. But to get rid of it is this. Number 1. Oh, and by the way, any and every type of cleanse that most people can think about or do, I've been doing it for over 30 years, and I've already been there, tried that. And so, hey, and I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on all of them. And so I can already tell you that sucks. That's good. That's good. All right, here's my all-time favorite best pick out of all of it. And this is, of course, based off of my body type. And but I think the ultimate cleanse by Nature's Secret is the best stuff. So it's this stuff right here. I'll share the screen, and then I'll tell you how to take it. It's really cool. So you go to detox. It's this stuff right here. Oh, why are you doing that? All right, hold on, let me just go to images. Hey, can't see? Can you see my screen?
Oh no, sorry. There you go. Now
Oh, sorry. Oops. All right, so this is the stuff right here.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, wrong screen. No, you got to reshare it. Sorry, you reshare your.
All right, hold on 1 second. All right, hold on. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
There it is.
This is, like I said, look at all these products. I've already been there, done that. They will absolutely destroy. Most of them will absolutely destroy your stomach. This is I like this brand just because it comes on slow, so it gives you time to go to the bathroom, and it's not like oh God, and you're just rushing, and then there's like an explosion. It's not that kind of party. So all you have to do is drink 1 gallon of water per day. 1 gallon of water per day. Take 2 capsules. These are herbal supplements, so you take 2 capsules in the morning, 2 at night. And then it'll take about 3 days for it to kick in. Now, during that time, you want to avoid sugars, dyes, just eat as clean as you possibly can because you're giving your body a cleanse. You're trying to put your body on vacation. So what I typically do is I have a prep week where I start eliminating certain things out and then increasing my water intake, during that 1 week period. And then when I officially start, I do a 14-day, 2 weeks, I do 14-day cleanse. But then once I get on it, oh my God, you can't help but to look. You're like, I wonder how big this is. And it becomes like, not to scare people, it just becomes like a mountain. You're like, oh my God, and you feel so light. Now, here's the perks of doing that. Of course, you're gonna lose weight, but it's not really body fat that you're losing. It's just shit that's just been piled up inside of you for God knows how long. Look at Elvis's fat ass. The dude, I mean, he had like 60 pounds of undigested meat in his stomach. All right. And so it's like, yeah, go figure. So bioavailability is increased like insanely, like an insane amount, because when you take supplements, they're going to get absorbed far better than if you didn't do it. So people are getting ripped off. If someone's like out of shape, fat, overweight, whatever, and they're eating like processed foods, taking supplements is by far the biggest waste of money. The bioavailability of that stuff being absorbed is so low, it's insane. It's not gonna be absorbed. It's like, go ahead, piss away your money. You're not gonna get anything out of it. So once you remove all of that crap out, and make way for the good stuff, it's kind of like, hey, let's get rid of all the bad people in our lives so we can welcome awesome people. It's the same deal. Get rid of all the crap, and then you can start to flood your body with all the good nutrients. But then, like, I used to take Adderall. I've had 20 plus concussions from jiu-jitsu. I lost my ability to talk, everything. And through cleansing, through detoxing, fasting, dude, I got rid of all of that crap, all the symptoms. And then I went on a very insane supplement regimen where I rebuilt my brain. And here I am now. So I'm a big fan of this, and people who don't know to cleanse their body, dude, just imagine, would you ever not clean your house? You know, not clean your toilet, not clean around. It's like, what do you think happens, man? And think what we're exposing ourselves to on a day-to-day basis. The foods, the waters, viruses, you know, airborne crap, pollutions, all of it, man. Even in our house. So it's like, what's your filtration system? How often do you change the filters in your house? It's like, yeah, you change them every 3 months. How often do you get an oil change? Every 3 months. You know, how often do we do all this stuff? So every 3 months, you should be doing a cleanse at a minimum. So, and then I also do coffee enemas. So anyway, that's why, quite honestly, I don't get sick and I don't have the problems that everyone else does. But anyway, that's my little 2-cent spiel on that. Thanks for Thanks for letting me have my little diarrhea moment. Mic drop. I'm done. Or I could just go.
We're at 2 hours and 15 minutes. I think we should, you know, although I could talk all night. You know, we'll save some of this for next weekend, and hopefully we can keep getting together. I'd like to bring on more people, you know, eventually have some guests. But so I know, you know, you got a family, Angelica, I got a family. We all got to spend some time with our kids, but it's cool hanging out. Hopefully let's do this again next weekend. Same time. I'll be, if you guys need to move the time, let me know. Otherwise, you know, same time.
This sounds great. So same time next week. Well, my kids actually like this time because I let them destroy the house while I'm on here.
Do you make them clean it up?
No. No, they don't put anything where it belongs. Drives me nuts. I do it myself.
How come you don't have them do it? Have them do it. How old are they?
Well, my two littlest ones is 1 year and 3 years.
Yeah, they got.
And then I got 3 older ones. I got a 22-year-old and a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old.
My gosh, you got 5 kids.
Yeah.
Brady Bunch.
I know. Yeah. All right. So same time next week.
Wow.
Yep. Same time.
Right. All right.
Yep.
All right. It was fun talking to y'all.
All right. Bye.
See you later, Brady.
Take care.
Thompson, I'll catch up with you, man.